So, what would you tell us about your role in CVC?
My role is to facilitate the addictions program for CVC. What I do is I I organize and develop a class that is given to people that are suffering from addictions, alcoholism, drug addiction. And what we do is we talk about, in a very culturally competent way, how do we deal with addictions, how do we face addictions, and how do we apply recovery as immigrants and refugees. How do we apply this idea of recovery to our lives? I found that the traditional Judeo-Christian way that most Americans will approach recovery may not work for a lot of people that are coming from other countries. They may be Hindu or Buddhist, Shinto, these other religions that don't have the relational quality of a Judeo-Christian philosophy. So there are religious and cultural differences that need to be approached, as well as the addictions themselves. So they need a safe environment. We also provide translation and interpretation for many of the clients that may not have learned the English language yet. So that's another wall that we try to break down that stands in the way of people's recovery.
Okay, that sounds good. What are the most challenges you see among the refugees and immigrants in this community?
The biggest challenges, again, would be the cultural barriers. Whether that be understanding of the American culture, the language barrier that's there, many of these factors that, as a person in a new environment, many times the immigrant and refugee community isn't informed enough to know what are the traditions and mores of the country they're in. In the United States, an example could be child rearing. The way some countries may bring up their children, in the United States it could be considered abuse, and certainly not to judge, other countries for what they do, but when an immigrant or refugee comes to the United States, we need to be sure that they're informed about their decisions, without judgment, but with a very firm and caring manner. We let them know that, some things that may be acceptable where you come from are not acceptable here. Not only that, there are consequences for that, whether that be corporal punishment with your children, or whether that be drinking in public, whether that be the age of drinking, the amount you drink. Many people don't know that the legal limit is .08. Some people may not realize that drinking and driving is a crime. So these are the things that we need to find a way to communicate to them in a very culturally sensitive way, because we're not being judgmental about people that may have broken a law or have had an offense against them, but we do want to, in a very precise way, let them know what they are doing wrong and why it's not okay to do that in the United States. And in that way, I think we protect them by informing them of what will get them in trouble in the future. Even if they have committed a crime in the past, we would like them to be in a place where they can learn, what can I do to prevent that from happening in the future? What can I do to make a better life for myself in this new country that I'm in? Instead of becoming lost, we want them to be able to find a way to integrate and assimilate their cultures into what we already have here, in our great country. And that's one of the reasons why it's so great, is because it's so diverse and so accepting.
Okay, now with all those challenges and solutions you've listed, how else does CVC exactly address those problems?
There are a lot of ways CVC is positioned to help in this area. Dr. Maiko has developed many trainings on cultural competency. He actually CVC is we train, I believe, the Indiana State Police Department, the entire state, on cultural competency. Dr. Maiko has developed a number of programs in other areas, a parenting program. He oversees the addictions program to make sure that it's in line with the vision of CVC, with what our goal is in the community. And most of that is through making sure we are culturally competent, we are bringing our message to the community in a way that is sensitive, that is loving and caring, and is a place of acceptance. You know, when immigrant or refugee comes to the United States, they are consumed by fear. You know, fear of a foreign country, fear of a foreign language, of people that may not look like them, food that may not be what they used to eat. So it is a completely foreign feeling that they have. And our job, what we want to do is we want to create an environment where they feel safe. That's one of those base needs. Somebody needs to feel safe if they want to progress further. And that's one of the first things we want, is we want to break down those walls so that people do feel safe, people do feel confident that they can move forward and improve upon themselves and improve upon, you know, their environment. And that's what we'd like to see.
Okay, thank you. That's helped a lot.